Internet friends. Welcome to another episode of the Synergy Cafe online show, featuring speaker, entertainer, close-up illusionist, and marketing alchemist, MagicBrad. It's the Internet lifestyle show about career, finance, relationships, spirituality, and wellness. We're moving the online chatter over to real-life activity. And now, please welcome your host of Synergy Cafe, MagicBrad.
Hey Internet friends, MagicBrad here, Synergy Cafe and the Synergy Collaborative, and here we are again for another interview on Synergy Cafe, and I've got a new friend. I don't know where he's from, but his name is mispronounced Reneau. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Almost like the car?
Well, it's spelled correctly.
No T. That's right. So we do it right.
Yeah.
And how do you pronounce your last name?
Peurifoy. I used to tell my classes, my class will be pure joy. So my name is Peurifoy.
There you go. A little word association. Yeah. Get it in the
brain. Oh, yeah. Made it every time.
So are you married? You got kids? What part of the world are you living in?
Oh, I'm in Sacramento, California, and I've been married for 42 years.
Wow.
Wife, yep, my wife just had a birthday yesterday, so we're out celebrating. And I got 2 kids. They're grown and gone, so empty nesters. And worked in counseling for 20 years. Got out and worked with anxiety disorders and trauma, and went into teaching after that for about 15 years. And currently, I'm just doing some part-time counseling as a pastoral counselor. Now, I was an MFT, marriage family therapist, and a little bit of that on the side, and then writing and talking classes, that type of stuff.
Okay, is that what you're doing now then? Just kind of sort of semi-retired? Is that what I'm getting?
Well, I'm awfully busy for being retired. But yeah, I'm writing. I've got my YouTube channel, so I'm one of my goals is to get a whole bunch of videos up to help people. So I've got things on anger and emotional triggers and anxiety disorders and that type of stuff. So that channel's been building pretty well. So I've been real pleased with it.
It's fascinating. The psychological end of it. I'm studying a little bit of this I don't have a degree or anything in psychology, but I've been studying this internet marketing thing, and you learn all the switches and buttons and tools to do all that. And it's turning out that to really get engaged with humans, you got to know how the mind works to be able to get people to interact. And the whole anxiety and stuff thing, that's got to be pretty fascinating. I've been around people that have like anxiety attacks, and I'm wondering what's the problem? What's the issue here? But it's because a couple little wires got connected and said, this is what we're going to do. And they go crazy for some reason. Not crazy.
Well, it's a combination of wiring, but it's also personality. My body is wired very similar to the people I worked with. That's why I got along with them so well. Because basically you're dealing with people who are sensitive. They're reactive. Some people, you got to slap them upside the head to get them to notice something, right?
Right.
Your anxiety disorder people as a group, they tend to have reactive bodies. And so like one of the questions I would ask in my intake is, how do you deal with caffeine? And most of them, well, you got to peel me off the roof if I drink coffee. My wife, she can drink a big cup of coffee, go to sleep, it doesn't bother her.
Right.
If I drink a cup of coffee after about 4 o'clock, I'll be up till 2 o'clock.
Okay.
So I've just got a very reactive body in general. Now, that's a good trait because it allows them to be more sensitive to people. In fact, it's the thing about them that other people like best, because people think that they are, they're very empathetic. They notice when something's going on with a person. But unfortunately, if they get overloaded, then it's kind of like a house where the wiring's not quite up to code and the circuit breakers trip, and they'll get anxiety symptoms. So one of their long-term lessons they have to learn is to keep short accounts. And by that I mean when issues are coming up in their life, they need to deal with them. Because if they don't, it'll manifest as anxiety.
Okay, it builds.
Exactly. And long term, what they find is when symptoms come up, it's like a thermometer. Little lights on your dashboard of your car. And it's basically something needs to be dealt with. So I'll say, okay, you need to learn to go through the checklist. So how's my primary relationship? How are the kids? How's work? Has there anything come up in, life issues? And usually they'll say, well, yeah, but it's not that big a deal. But the symptoms are simply saying, deal with it, because it is a big deal. And oftentimes it's relationship issues, boundary issues, things like that.
Yeah, I had a situation like that. I thought I was in good health. I was running an exposition management company, and it was stressful because me and my business partner didn't quite agree on a lot of things. And that
Yep.
stress just kind of ticks up on you. And I had a mild stroke, one of those TIA things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very minimal thing, but I thought,
Yeah.
I feel healthy. But
Yeah.
little bit by little bit, it accumulates. Is it sort of a linear thing, or is it more organic and?
Well, and again, it's very common for them as well as a lot of people to ignore their body. And so again, you don't realize that how stressed out you are until you're flat on your back. And so that ability just to kind of be aware of what's going on inside is useful. And a lot of times there's behavioral things. It's like whether we're dealing with worry or whatever, there's some kind of behavioral manifestation of it. Like when I work with people with anger, I'll say, okay, think about times when you know you've been angry about something, and then what did you do that was different from what you normally do. And once they start to identify some of their anger behaviors, then when they see themselves doing that, like with me, when something's bugging me, I'll sit in front of the computer and I'll play, Free Cell or some stupid game for a while. And of course, your spouse is useful at pointing those types of things out. Something seems to be bothering you. Oh, no, I'm fine, But then you think about it, you say, oh yeah, something's bugging me. So then you need to just deal with it. And a lot of times it's real life issues, stuff that you really, that's important to deal with.
When you're with a spouse, they can kind of sense that kind of thing. But when a person is just out in public, they might not notice that a person, like I've got a friend and I just learned that he had one of those, I didn't like calling them disorders, but he has a certain personality. And now that I'm aware of it, it's like, aha, that's why he is the way that used to piss me off. Now it doesn't piss me off anymore because I understand, oh, I get it.
Yeah. It's different that way.
It's good for people to work with someone like you because then you can kind of bring that up and people are aware of it. Because awareness, I think that's 90% of it.
Well, and a lot of these indicators you can figure out just by taking time and going back through your life. Think about times like if you want to reconnect emotionally, which is one of the things that a lot of times people need to do. Just think about times when you were sad or you were angry or you were stressing about something, and what are those behaviors that you do that you don't normally do? And everybody's got something, in poker they call it a tell, right?
Right.
So you've got a tell for whatever emotion is going on inside of you. It's just a matter of identifying what it is, and once you've identified it, then you tend to become more aware of it. It's just you'll say, oh, I'm doing my anger behavior. Something must be bugging me, or I'm doing my my sadness behavior. Something must be going on with me, and then it's just a matter of going through the checklist, and one of those items will be, oh yeah, this happened, but it wasn't that big a deal. Well, I guess my behavior is telling me it was a big deal. And the checklist again is, primary relationship, work, kids, life goals, friendships, anything unusual in the last day or two. And in one of those areas, something usually pops up. And then again, a lot of times it's a real thing. Somebody, canceled something or did something. And so it's a matter, okay, so what am I going to do about that? As opposed to saying, well, it's okay. I'm fine with it, right? Well, my behavior is telling me I'm not fine.
Right. Yeah, I used to not be fine with it, but now I actually am because my lifestyle, I've designed it so I'm pretty much free. I can do things when I want, whenever.
Right.
I'm not scheduled. But I used to be upset because I took the time to meet you here at 10 o'clock and you're not here at 10 o'clock. It's 10:15. I just wasted 15 minutes of my life.
Yeah.
And you get into the blame game and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
I get it. So you got to nip that in the bud before it gets too serious.
And that's the nice thing about getting older for a lot of us is, you you let go of a lot of those should must and the way things should be stuff, and you just start sort of saying, well, this is the way it is, so let me figure out how I'm going to deal with it.
So do you like working two kind of questions, and I ask these a lot. One is, personally, do you like working in the morning or the evenings?
Oh, I'm a morning person.
Me
yeah,
too.
well,
Okay.
Yeah, 1 to 5, nothing creative happens
And then
or rarely happens.
As far as your occupation, do you have like regular office hours you kind of work? Are you kind of like a 24/7 kind of guy on call, or?
Well, I used to have regular office hours. Now I don't. Again, being semi-retired, quote, I can decide when I want to do stuff and just whatever fits. So like when I work with people over at the church, we just work around their schedule. I prefer during the day. So you avoid all the night stuff.
You're retired but busy.
Yeah, well, I've got a lot of stuff I do at night too. I still play guitar, so.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Stress relief, right?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great stress release. I remember when my daughter was high school, she came in and substituted because our bass player couldn't work for once, couldn't play a particular service, and she was funny because she had never seen adults play like that in terms of the way we joked and interacted and stuff. And it was just kind of fun watching her, just kind of looking at everybody saying, "Wow, this is a different side of people."
Generation gap, right?
Oh yeah.
So before I ask my favorite question, the big why question, you want to just tell us how to get a hold of you? You got some web links or any projects coming up, or maybe your YouTube channel? Is there a domain name how to get to it, or?
Well, the easiest one is whyemotions.com, and then that's my website, and then from there you can link into the videos and just everything that I do. So whyemotions.com is the easiest one.
Why emotions? That goes right into my next question. That's the big why. Mm-hmm. Why are you doing this? How come you're not a rock star doing tours across the country? Or why aren't you like a pet breeder? Or why are you doing what you're doing?
Well, when I was a kid, I liked animal behavior. We had lots of animals, chickens and rabbits and all that kind of stuff. And, I raised them. And in fact, I had the only trained chickens in the neighborhood. You only train the layers, though. The fryers are only there for 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. Did you have a circus or something?
Well, just a kid, And so when I went into biology, I liked animal behavior. And so that was basically what I looked at. I'm kind of an unusual person in the counseling field because I come out of the hard sciences. I was a bio major with math and chemistry minors. And then when I decided to switch over to counseling, I went from animal behavior to human behavior, which some say is a step down, but it's interesting just working with people. I mean, I've always been fascinated with emotions and just how they work with people. In high school, actually, one of my nicknames was Mr. Spock. Star Trek had just come out, so just emotions have always fascinated me. And how do you become a different person? Scrooge, the Christmas play, or the Christmas book, and many different versions of it, always fascinated me. How a person can shift a core belief and totally transform. Now, this is obviously fiction, right? But you see that with people too. We have a set of core beliefs, and if you can shift some of those negative ones, it's amazing the impact it has. And the other realization that hit me early on that really made a lot of sense to me is most people's core beliefs were developed by a little kid. Mm-hmm. And when you think about that, that explains all the crazy stuff you see. Most people are basing their lives on a set of core beliefs a little kid came up with, and the majority of people don't do anything about that because they never take any time to self-examination or look at it.
Yep, a good friend of mine says that you developed yourself probably birth to age 10. That's when you kind of developed your personality.
Well, yeah, and you don't have to stay locked into those core beliefs. It's just most people do because they never bothered to look at it, or they don't think it's important. And of course, in the '60s, you had all the human potential movements going on, and so I was involved in a lot of that type of stuff. And
got it. So this is a labor of love. It's your passion. It's your point of interest, and that's why you do it. I get it.
Oh yeah. Well, and seeing people change is more rewarding than anything else. Seeing somebody who's been crippled with anxiety disorders and having panic attacks, and you see them change, and they write you 10 years later and say, I haven't had a panic attack since then, and just report how well their life's going. Then that's what it's all about.
Right. That's what I hear most of the times when I ask the big why question. It's because of helping other people. So it's good. There's hope for humanity, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't like to do these too long and take people's valuable time because we only have 24 hours in a day. So I'm going to sign this one off, and then what I do is I'll propagate it out to the universe, and I'll find you and link you up in it and everything.
Okay.
And if you could do the same, that's where the synergy comes in. One hand washing the other. 1 + 1 = 11.
Yep.
And we'll tell the world. So I appreciate you taking the time, and we will
and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.